Welcome back for chapter 10 in our 3A1 series, and in this chapter we're going to take a look at steam properties and calculations. So lots to get through here in this chapter. There are 7 objectives to talk about. First, define and explain the following terms: saturation temperature, saturated steam, dry saturated steam, wet saturated steam, dryness fraction, superheated steam, and enthalpy. For objective 2, identify from the pressure-based and temperature-based steam tables the properties of saturated steam at specified conditions. 3, identify from the superheated steam tables the properties of superheated steam at specified conditions. 4, calculate the heat required to produce dry saturated or superheated steam at given conditions from feed water at given conditions. 5, calculate the dryness fraction of wet steam and or the heat required to produce wet steam at a given dryness fraction. Objective 6, explain the properties of steam on a temperature enthalpy diagram. And finally, for objective 7, define and calculate heat rate, equivalent evaporation, and factor of evaporation for a boiler. So in this first video then in this series, we're going to take a look at objective 1, which is all of our definitions really. The good news is here, virtually all of these definitions should be revision as you would have met them last year in 4th class. There'll just be a little bit more of a focus this year for these definitions on that of enthalpy. So let's go through them all and then we can relate them to a temperature enthalpy diagram that we've done in previous chapters. So for our first definition, we need to talk about latent heat. And we've spoke about this one before. Latent heat is simply heat that causes a change in state of a substance without a change in temperature. That's latent heat. And it's going to be an endothermic reaction in that all of the energy we either take out or put into the system is going to be used to drive the state change, because it takes an awesome amount of force to overcome the cohesive forces between our molecules. The second one then is a bit of a subdivision of the first. A type of latent heat is latent heat of evaporation. This can also be referred to as latent heat of vaporization. Same thing. And this is simply the heat required to change from a specific state to a specific state. And this is going to be from a liquid, i.e. water, into a vapor, i.e. steam. And once again, it does this without a change in temperature. Another one of our latent heats is latent heat of fusion, and this one works both ways. We either go from solid to a liquid or liquid to a solid. So that's our latent heat of fusion. Our next term is sensible heating or cooling. Sensible heat is basically heat that is added or removed, if we're talking about cooling to a system, that does cause a change in temperature that can be measured on a temperature scale, but it doesn't cause a change in state. So sensible heat also ties into specific heat. Very similar, but slightly different. The next definition we need to mention is saturation temperature. Saturation temperature can also be referred to as the boiling point, or the boiling temperature, the evaporation point, or the evaporation temperature. Same thing. This is simply the temperature at which our liquid reaches its boiling point. Now, this of course depends upon its pressure, because pressure and temperature are linked, that we'll see on our steam tables later in this chapter. Now, of course, for water at sea level and atmospheric pressure, our boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The next term is saturated steam. Try not to confuse saturated steam with the saturation point. Saturation point is the boiling point. Saturated steam is not that point. It's a different location on our graph. Saturated steam is steam that is fully saturated with heat. And this is going to be latent heat, which means there are no water particles present within it. So we are all the way across to the right-hand side of our latent heat line. So depending upon what you remember from 4th class, when we calculated dryness fraction, we are now at the point where Q, the dryness fraction, is equal to 1. Meaning it's 100% dry, there's no water. Now this point could be described as where all of our latent heat of evaporation, or the latent heat of vaporization has been added to the water and the entire state change has been achieved. Our next definition is superheated steam. Superheated steam is simply steam that is above the saturation temperature for the applicable pressure. And this is steam now that's had more energy dumped into it. And to get superheated steam, we are once again going to sensibly heat the steam. Now, why do we superheat steam? We do it for three reasons in power engineering. First, we increase the overall thermal efficiency of our cycle. More about that much later. Two, we make sure we remove any moisture from our system because moisture can cause corrosion, deposition, and also water hammer. And also, the more energy we have in our steam, this is heat energy, the more work it can actually do. So in other words, the hotter our steam is at a higher pressure, the more work it can do in our turbine and the more energy we can produce. Now, we can relate all of those definitions to something that we've been looking at previously, and that is our temperature enthalpy curve. So, applying some figures to this, we need to start talking about the values or the nomenclature that the steam tables use. So what we can see here with our graph is that we start down here at point 1 and we now have to sensibly heat our water up to the saturation temperature or the boiling point. Now on our steam tables, this is related to as HF, which is simply the enthalpy in the fluid. F for fluid, and our fluid's water. Once we get to point number 2, this is the boiling point or the saturation temperature. At this point now, any more energy that we dump in is all going to go to changing state. And this is going to change it from a liquid into a vapor, i.e. steam. Now the latent heat of vaporization or the latent heat of evaporation on our steam tables is labelled up as HFG. Subscript F and G here are fluid to gas. And we can also travel part way across that line, and that's where this idea of dryness fraction comes into it that we'll talk about later. Once we get to point number 3, we are now at the saturated steam point at point 3, which means that steam is completely saturated with dryness. That is, all of our latent heat has been dumped in and our state change is now complete. Now on our steam tables, Hg here is often referred to as our total enthalpy, which would be HF plus HFG. If we then add more heat to it, we then go up into the realm of superheated steam, which you can see once again is sensible heating because the temperature increases. And I'm just noting that one at the moment as H subscript S, S for the superheated. Now our vertical axis, of course, is our temperature, and the horizontal axis is our enthalpy. And you can see we get this sort of gradient and flat type looking curve as we ascend up or descend down our curve. Now, similar to the previous work that we've been doing, the key to doing your steam tables is to know this graph inside and out. And if you know where you're starting from and where you are going to, it will really help you out when you start to come to working out these answers using the formula. So I'm going to be pushing that method upon you to use this temperature enthalpy graph. Now, if we simplify all that down and get rid of the superheat portion for the moment, we can introduce the formulae that we've seen before at 4th class to use these terms that we've been talking about, i.e. HF for the sensible heat of our water, HFG for our latent heat, or QHFG if we're only going part way across, and then Hg at the very end point where we have our total enthalpy or our saturated steam point. Now the formulae that you need to remember, because once again they're not in your academic supplement, are that Hg, total enthalpy, is equal to HF, the enthalpy of the water, plus HFG, the enthalpy of evaporation. The formula underneath that is the same formula, but now we just have this addition of Q, where Q is the dryness fraction. And we use this formula whenever we are going part way across the latent heat line, i.e. HFG. I know you've seen these two formulae before, and we're going to be using them again to do our calculations. Now, let's get into enthalpy a little bit more. And this is possibly something that wasn't gone into in this sort of detail as was done in 4th class. Now, as we've mentioned it before, enthalpy is simply heat energy. And by its sort of basic unit in our academic supplement, we measure enthalpy in a unit of kilojoules. So if you think about our formula that we've been seeing previously, Q equals mc delta T, Q has always been coming out in kilojoules. Well, it's the same here. Now, on our steam tables, it's important to realise that our reference temperature, which can also be referred to as our base temperature, it's 0 degrees C, which simply means if you look at the lowest temperature on steam table 1 or 2, it will be 0 degrees. Now, this is really important to know because, as we've said before, you can't put water into a boiler and then have it freeze. When water freezes, it expands by about 9%. And when that happens, we can start to burst seams or break welds within our boiler, and we can cause massive amounts of damage. So we never ever want to allow ice to form in a boiler. That's really important from an operation perspective. So that's our base temperature, because we're never going to put water in colder than 0 degrees. Now, the values on the steam tables, 1, 2, or 3, these are referred to as specific enthalpy values. And it's specific because it's a specific mass. In other words, when you look up a value of enthalpy on our steam tables, this is giving you the value in kilojoules per kilogram. And that is a specific enthalpy. So it's how much heat energy is in 1 kilo of our substance, whether that be water, steam, etc. Now, total enthalpy I've mentioned before. Total enthalpy is simply Hg in the basic version that we're talking about at the moment. And this is going to be the sum of all enthalpy in this fluid stroke gas. And that's going to be the HF, the enthalpy in our fluid, and the HFG, the latent heat of evaporation enthalpy. And when we add those two together, we get our total enthalpy, Hg, which is located at the saturated steam point. The other enthalpy we talk about is the enthalpy of evaporation, or again could be called the enthalpy of vaporization. This is simply our latent heat. So it's how much heat we required to drive the state change. And on our graph and in our steam tables, this is simply our HFG value for the enthalpy of our fluid to gas. Now, here's a specific example in our chapter for steam at 500 kilopascals. And in this example, we can see, and all these values come out of your steam tables that we'll see later, that starting at 0 degrees C and going up to the boiling point of 151.86 degrees C, we have our HF. This is the enthalpy of our fluid. And this is going to be, for 1 kilogram, 640.23 kilojoules per kilogram. So that's a specific enthalpy value. Once we get to point number 2, we're now going to dump in our latent heat, which is our HFG, the enthalpy of evaporation. Now, if we put all of that in, we would have to put in 2,108.5 kilojoules per kilogram to convert 1 kilogram of water into 1 kilogram of steam. We now get to point 3, which is the saturated steam point, or the dry saturated steam point. Hg can be determined by taking the HF value and adding it to the HFG value. So in this example, 640.23 plus our 2,108.5 will give us our total specific enthalpy here of 2,748.7 kilojoules per kilogram. We now go off into the superheated steam territory if we keep adding in more and more heat. And this is now going to be sensible heat. We'll get into superheated steam a little bit later because that requires a different table. And initially, we just want to talk about our steam going up to the Hg point. So we'll get to superheated steam a little bit later, and that's where it becomes a bit more interesting. So that is a good sort of introduction really with regards to our definitions and applying them to our temperature enthalpy graph here for objective 1. So I'm sure you know most of these definitions already. Make sure you're clear with your definitions, you're clear with your various differences between enthalpies, and then you can relate these points and definitions on the temperature enthalpy curve. Because I'm going to be using that temperature enthalpy curve quite a lot when we work through and solve our steam table questions. So that's it for objective 1. Fairly quick and straightforward one there. Give this a review, and then when you're ready, come back and see me and we'll attack objectives 2 and 3 together, where we'll start looking at our steam tables of both 1, 2 and 3 steam tables. So see you back whenever you're ready.